Next, we have Joe Jamison. He's a member of the Executive Committee of the U.S. Peace Council, and he is chair of the Queens, New York Peace Council. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you. Brothers and sisters, in July, I spent a week in Caracas. I saw up close the lawlessness of U.S. foreign policy that the people of Latin America see every day. On my second day in Caracas, by aircraft, by satellite, we don't know, the U.S. sent an electronic impulse that shut down the electric power and water supply system all over Venezuela for several days. It was sheer, unprovoked, brazen gangsterism. But U.S. gangsterism goes beyond Venezuela and beyond cyber warfare. 30 countries are under illegal U.S. economic sanctions. It's as if the U.S. is waging economic war on much of the world against any country that steps out of line.
Exactly right.
But it's worse than economic warfare. The gangsterism of the U.S. war machine rages on in endless, bloody, real wars in Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Yemen, Pakistan, Somalia, and who knows how many other African countries. But the threat's even worse than all the wars of intervention. The monster John Bolton is gone, but other monsters like him remain in power. On my worst days, I fear the monsters are doing their best to ignite World War III. And the gangsterism is bipartisan. The war on Yugoslavia, Democrat Clinton. The war on Iraq and Afghanistan, Republican Bush. The war on Syria and Libya, Democrat Obama. The war on Venezuela and Iran, Republican Trump. The Democratic Party just excluded its only anti-war candidate from the presidential debates. Both major parties just passed a Pentagon budget upwards of $700 billion. Older cities in the Northeast and Midwest can no longer provide clean water, clean drinking water, but there's always more money for an F-35 or another aircraft carrier. The U.S. is a rogue state on a rampage. It's dismantling the whole architecture of nuclear arms control. It pulled out of the INF Treaty a few months ago. It's planning to pull out of the Strategic Arms Treaty in a couple of months. The U.S. unlawfully ripped up the Iran nuclear deal, and now we're on the brink of war with Iran. The U.S. organizes regime change coups. It installs puppet governments, it assassinates foreign leaders, it launches drone attacks that slaughter villagers, it's tightening the blockades of Venezuela and Cuba, it's maintaining 800 bases that encircle and pollute the planet, it's militarizing outer space, it's staging endless provocations from seizing oil tankers in the Persian Gulf to pushing the NATO war alliance to the borders of Russia to ginning up a new nuclear arms race. I close with this. In a few minutes, I suspect, we're going to march across town to the UN. It took a world war from 1939 to 1945 and 50 million dead to create that UN institution on the East Side and its charter and the modern system of international law. The goal of the UN was to ensure that never again would there be another world war. This is the time of year when world leaders come to New York. There is no better time for the world to hear from us, the U.S. people, that we regard our own government as the worst lawbreaker on earth. The governments gathered here in Manhattan, however, can only play defense against the growing lawlessness of the United States. The only force that can end the U.S. war on the world is a mobilized U.S. people, and we don't have much time. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.